Hey guys, welcome back to Chaos Core Tech. My name's Garrett, and today I'm going to be doing a Q&A for you. So last week I put out a video announcing that we just hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel, and I also wanted to open up the floor for questions and also requests. So I had people leave me a two-part comment, one with a request for a model for me to make and make a video about on the channel, and then two to ask me a question, whether it be personal, something about the channel, anything. And so this is hopefully just to allow you guys to get to know me a little bit better and maybe get to know a little bit more behind the scenes stuff about the channel. Okay, the first one is from Molex1701, and he didn't have a question for me, but he did have a model request. He says, congrats on the 1,000 plus. I'm hoping to make a sonic screwdriver from Doctor Who when I get a 3D printer. I'd like to see you do one for your model. Absolutely, I will add that to the list, and I might even do that one with electronics. That looks like a pretty good one that I could stick some LEDs in or something like that. So, added to the list. The next comment comes from CJ Printing, and if you're not aware, he is a fellow YouTuber. He does videos about 3D printing and stuff, so I'll put a link down in the description. Go check him out. His request, mini game consoles. You could print and paint a mini Xbox One, PS4, and Wii U, or NES, SNES, and N64. I think the retro ones would be cooler. They had cooler designs. I agree, actually. That's a really good idea. I think that'd be really fun just to have a bunch of tiny consoles sitting around, so I'll add that to the list, and I'll probably do all of them. So eventually, probably not all in one video, but added to the list. And then he actually has two questions for me. First one is, how long have I been playing guitar? And if you don't know, I play guitar. I play a couple of musical instruments. Music is a huge part of my life, and I listen to it pretty much every day. So I'll give you the short answer to that question. It was either late 2006 or early 2007. I had actually wanted to learn how to play guitar for a very long time, but I really didn't know how to go about it, and it was actually about the time that I had started dating my wife, and she was really big into music and plays violin and piano and all that stuff. So I finally just decided to go out one day, and actually I didn't know what I was doing. Ended up buying a bass guitar instead of a regular guitar because I didn't know the difference at the time. But so I actually learned on a bass guitar, and then now I have a couple of regular guitars, and I play those a lot more than the bass. And actually, a funny story about that is the first song that I learned was Schism by Tool, because the bass part in there is actually very audible. Like, the first riff you hear in that song is the bass instead of the guitar. And so that's the one I wanted to learn. And so I just played that over and over again. And I think my mom actually still has nightmares about that riff because I played it so much. Then his second question is, do you have any previous experience in technology or art that has helped you get so good at modeling? Well, thank you for saying I'm good at modeling. And technology, yes, but not related to 3D modeling. And art, not really. When I was a kid, I drew quite a bit. Mostly with just pencil, and then I colored with color pencils. But I've always been very creative and wanted to do something like this. I've just lacked the necessary skill. I messed around with Blender a little bit when I was younger, but it was so complicated to learn, and I didn't really grasp everything that I needed to about 3D space. That I never really got anywhere with it. And then I really didn't do anything else with it until I got my 3D printer and learned about Tinkercad. And then I just started making things in there. And actually the first design that I ever created was the flux capacitor, which is the first video for this channel. And now that was my second iteration on that flux capacitor, but that was the first thing I ever made. And then from there, I just kept messing with things until I got them the way that I wanted them. So, long story short, no, I don't have a background that would help support what I'm doing now. I just have a drive to learn how to do it, so I did. So I highly recommend that people get into this and start modeling their own 3D things because, you know, once you get into it, it's not as hard as you think, and people make amazing things. Next comment comes from Duplicat. And his model requests, he says it'll be super nerdy, difficult, long, but would be hugely popular. He wants me to reverse engineer and model the Audi Lunar Quattro moon rover. Well, that escalated quickly. You know, I had actually never heard of this, which really surprises me because I love all things space and learning about physics and stuff like that. But I did look this up, and it looks very interesting. I'll put a picture over here so you can see what it looks like at least. And I could definitely model it and make it pretty cool. I don't know that I could reverse engineer it. That'd be a really fun challenge, but yeah, the people that design those are way smarter than I am. But I will certainly give it a go, and maybe if nothing else, I'll just make an RC car out of it. So, added to the list. And then the question, He says, friend alert, where is JWall? And if you don't know who JWall is, he has a channel called Print That Thing. I'm sure most of you know who he is. I think he's most famous for his cat armor. It says, did he get grounded from YouTube for being naughty and playing raunchy Aussie bar music during the last live stream? And actually, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't seen him since that stream. He's commented on a couple of my videos. So JWall, if we're watching, where are you, man? We miss you. Okay, the next question comes from Mighty Jabba's Collection. Now, this guy's actually been a subscriber of mine for a very long time. He actually has a channel too. He does mostly Star Wars stuff, a lot of Jabba the Hutt stuff, as his name would indicate. But he also does some 3D printing stuff on there as well, so go check him out, link in the description. His request, I bet you can guess it, Jabba the Hutt. Now that one's pretty interesting. You guys know that I have been wanting to do more organic models, and it doesn't get much more organic than Jabba the Hutt. So yes, I will try to do that. So I will add that to the list. And he did not have a question for me. The next question comes from Acarduino. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Acarduino123. And his requests are for a tiny Pokemon set, like one or two of the starters like Pikachu or Charmeleon. Yes, I will do that. I actually have plans for quite a few more Pokemon coming up. Those videos were really popular, and I seem to have a lot of people asking for different types of Pokemon, so expect more of those in the future. And then their question was, when you started YouTube, what was your goal? So this is kind of an interesting question. I actually don't know that I have a concrete answer for that. I had gotten the 3D printer almost a year beforehand, and I had mostly printed things like a Thingiverse and stuff like that, and then I had just designed the flux capacitor. So my initial thought going in was, hey, this flux capacitor is kind of cool. I should make a YouTube video. And actually, pretty much the only 3D printing channel I had seen to that point was Barnacles. So at the time, I kind of wanted to just show off the flux capacitor that I made and, you know, add to the 3D printing YouTube community. But it was a little more personal than that too, because I'm a very creative person and I'm constantly thinking of different things that I would like to do. But a lot of times I didn't have the skills necessary to take the project to completion. I used it to help me keep learning about electronics, because if you watch a lot of my earlier videos, I posted a lot of electronic stuff. And because I didn't really think about designing back then, the flux capacitor was really easy to make. And I didn't really think that that could go anywhere. I had a few designs. And then with R2, I got a little bit more involved in the modeling and figured out that I actually really liked the artistic side of it. And then just went from there. So I've used YouTube to kind of keep me motivated to keep developing my skills, so I can bring you guys more interesting things every week. Okay, the next comment comes from Blake Bailey. He says, congrats on 1,000, thank you. And he would love to see me tackle the Ant-Man helmet. So yes, I will do that. That's going to be a challenge. I've never done a helmet before. I've been wanting to, and I have plans for a couple in the future, but Ant-Man would be a great one because I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yes, I will do that. And then his question is, have I ever watched a movie and thought, I could 3D print that prop, or have you ever seen a movie prop you wanted to print? And yes is the answer to that. Probably too much. As I mentioned before, I've always been pretty creative, and I kind of have crazy grand plans going on up there. A lot of stuff that is just not feasible most of the time, but I like to give it a shot anyway. So yes, pretty much all the time when I'm watching movies, I'm just like, oh, that prop would be cool to design and print, and I start thinking of different things I could do, like electronics and LEDs and stuff to make it look really cool. But there's just so much to do and so little time, so I hardly ever get around to actually making them, especially since props take so much longer to model and print and make sure everything's right. But I'm definitely going to get back into making more props. I've just been using these little figures to really improve my 3D modeling skills. So yes, you will see firsthand the answer to this question. Okay, the next question comes from Ogrigo. Sorry, I know I'm butchering your name. Their model request was any Overwatch model. Yeah, that'd be really cool. I really like the aesthetics that a lot of the Overwatch characters have. I'm trying to decide which one I would do. I think maybe Pharah would be a really cool one. That would definitely be a test of my skills modeling wise, but I think that'd be really cool. So yes, added to the list. And then their question was, what got you into 3D printing? Okay, so I have a probably long and over-convoluted answer to this. Another really interesting question. You guys are really hitting it home with these questions. So it starts with Kickstarter. Now, I love video games. I've loved video games since I was a kid, and I'm a very avid video game player. So I would frequently check out Kickstarter and see if there was any cool games there, and then back them to hopefully get the games made. Then I also hung out with my brother a lot, and he has the same kind of thought processes that I do. So we both had grand ideas that we wanted to do together, and electronics kind of got brought up a lot, so we figured we should dive down that path. And, I was aware of Arduinos and what they were, so I got an Arduino and we started messing around with electronics. So I expanded out on Kickstarter and started looking at other things like electronics and tech. And then I saw the Robo 3Ds campaign, and the campaign had already ended by the time I found it. And that was my first real introduction to what 3D printing was. And of course I was hooked right away because dealing with electronics and wanting to make things, 3D printing lends itself so well to that. So I knew that I had to have one, but they were expensive because back then the cheapest ones you could get were like $800, which was the Robo. And then after a lot of research, I ultimately decided on the Robo 3D. And then I spent a long time trying to convince myself that I didn't need it because it was so expensive, but ultimately I failed, obviously. And the rest, as I say, is history. So yeah, I found them on Kickstarter. Electronics is the reason that I got it. Okay, next question is from Jareth Varens. And now this guy is actually the guy that requested the slime video that I just did. And his request is for more slimes. He wants me to do a tar slime as well as the other slimes. And yes, I actually planned on doing all of the slimes and all of the plorts eventually. I was just going to break them up into groups and do them in smaller videos like that to give myself more time to model them and not overload my wife with painting stuff. But yes, eventually I will have all the slimes and all of the plorts. And then his question is, when did you think of the idea to start building the models that you do weekly on this channel? And that actually started with R2-D2, which I did in December of 2015. After I created the flux capacitor, I knew that I really liked that, and I wanted to keep doing electronics projects, and R2 was an idea from the beginning. I was just like, it'd be really cool to have a little R2 robot. But I didn't know how I was going to model that, and I had been messing around in Tinkercad for a while, and I was like, he's pretty much just a cylinder with a ball on top. I could do that. And I didn't really take into account all the details he had on him. It turned out to be way harder than I thought it would be. But I actually really enjoyed it, and I think that R2 actually came out pretty good, considering I made him in Tinkercad. And I was already doing weekly videos. I think it was about that time that I moved to 3 per week, and usually one of those was some sort of 3D model that I was creating. It wasn't anything like these. A lot of them were just useful things, really tiny, really easy to design. But a couple weeks into that, I realized that since R2, I had had one every week. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do a weekly model. So it forces me to improve my modeling skills. And in the midst of that, my wife got caught up in the tornado, and we started discovering different ways of painting and finishing off these things. And she's come a long way as well. So it's been a really good growing process for both of us. And it's just something that I really enjoy. So I've stuck with it every week. Okay, next comment comes from Brokemon. He says, can you have a go at making some tiny Terraria swords? And yes, I will add that to the list. I think that's really cool. Next question comes from J Bizarro SPCJ. His request is for the Magneto helmet. And yeah, that'd actually be great because it's a relatively simple helmet, and that actually might give me a good first run at creating a helmet, and then I can move into creating the other ones like the Ant-Man one. And his question is, do you foresee getting a new printer, maybe running 2? And yes, the only reason I haven't actually is just for monetary reasons. I'm trying not to spend a ton of money on this hobby just yet, because if I'd give myself free reign, I'd probably have like 20 printers now and be super in debt. So I don't want to do that. And so as soon as I start making any money from the ad revenue on this channel that I can help to offset the price of the printer, I will be getting another one. And actually, if Robo 3D ever releases their next line of the R2 and the R2 Mini, I will definitely be getting those. Because from everything I've heard, they have a lot of the features I'm looking for. And as you know, I love my Robo 3D, so sticking with them would be a no-brainer for me. So yeah, in the future, I will definitely have more than one printer. Okay, next question comes from Panoreth 3D Printing, a fellow 3D printing YouTuber. I'll put the link down in the description. You should check him out as well. And his request is to model myself. I said no people, but I guess considering that it is myself and messing up this face would only make it better, sure, I'll give it a go. That'd be really interesting, and it'd be funny to watch my wife try to paint that. Yeah, sounds interesting. I'll give it a try. And then his question for me is, what is my favorite non-3D printing / tech YouTube channel? And that one's hard to answer. I watch a ton of YouTube. I don't watch TV normally in my daily life, and I don't watch Netflix or Hulu or anything like that. YouTube is where I get the vast majority of my entertainment. So I have a lot of channels that I follow. So it's hard to pick just one. But of the non-tech and 3D printing channels, I'd have to say that a couple of my favorites right now are Philip DeFranco and Boogie2988. And then what is my favorite 3D printing channel? Now, you can't ask me that. I'm heavily involved in the community, and I have somewhat of a relationship with most of these people, so I can't really pick one because I have a personal relationship with quite a few of them. Actually, I like a lot of them for different types of things. And I think I've subscribed to just about all of them and watched their videos, at least all the ones I could find. So I just love the community as a whole. Very welcoming and just glad to be a part of it. So how was that for an answer? That's probably the most politician-like answer I could have given. Okay guys, well, I'm sure this video is already like a half an hour long, so I apologize for that length, and thank you if you made it this far. I thought these questions were really interesting, and I actually really enjoyed doing this, so I'll definitely be doing more of these. And then for all of the requests, I do have quite a few of them, and there's a lot more that I get from other videos and stuff that are on the list as well. And I think eventually I will post some of that list. But I'd like to get a little bit further ahead to the point that I know I could stick to that list a little bit more. So eventually I will show you guys the list of what I'm working on. And then also please realize that since I do have so many and I'm only doing one per week, this list will take a while to get through. So if I said yes to yours, don't expect it in the next couple weeks. It definitely will be coming. It just might take a month or two to get here. But if you want updates and stuff like that before the videos are released, follow me on Twitter. I'm at ChaosCoreTech. Post all sorts of previews and stuff up there, letting people know what I'm making. And oftentimes I'll even put polls out to see what people want me to make. Okay, guys. Well, thanks again for 1,000 subscribers, for giving me these questions, and for watching this video. I appreciate it greatly. And, I can honestly say for the first time in quite a long time, I see a very, very bright future. And that is thanks to you guys. So when I say thank you, know that I truly mean it. It really does mean the world to me that you guys come and watch the stupid videos that I post several times every week. So thank you guys. I will talk to you later. See you next time.